documentaries, and AFA original productions. You'll even find videos from some of your favorite talk shows. All you have to do is create a free account at streaming.afa.net.
Welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you with us this afternoon. All right, it may be a sign of the times, but there are a number of persecuted Christians in our troubled world, and those numbers just continue to multiply exponentially. And as a result, we just continue praying for our brothers and sisters in places like Nigeria, millions in Africa, those in China, North Korea, in the Middle East, and believers who are scattered abroad, literally in dozens of other lands. But right now, we want to highlight for you the plight of some 120,000 Armenian Christians who are being starved to death as we speak. And with me to raise awareness of this situation, which can best be described as simply a genocide, is Robert Nicholson. He's the president and executive director of the Philos Project. Robert, welcome to Washington Watch. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Congressman.
Well, listen, let's begin. This is probably one of those topics that most of our listeners are don't know a great deal about. Let's begin with where this region is and what we're talking about in general.
That's a great place to start. Most people don't know. Armenia is a small country, a landlocked country between Turkey, Azerbaijan, Iran, and Georgia and Russia. Not the best neighborhood in the world. This is a majority Christian country, a completely Christian country, surrounded on three sides by majority Muslim countries. Armenians, if listeners don't know, were the first nation to convert as a whole, en masse, to Christianity in 301. This is before the Roman Empire became Christian. And that land is much smaller than the Armenians' homeland, which used to cover most of what's now Turkey. But it's what's left after a pretty horrific genocide that happened against the Armenian Christians just about 100 years ago.
So what's going on now? Why are the Christians there now in such a dire situation?
We have two allies in the region on either side of Armenia, Turkey and Azerbaijan. And these two allies are Turkic countries, majority Muslim countries, who for a long time have had tense relations with the Armenian Christians between them. The Turks were, in fact, the perpetrators of the genocide. And these days, Azerbaijan is claiming that the Armenians are not rightfully living in their homeland. They should be part of Azerbaijan, a disputed area between these two countries called Nagorno-Karabakh. They believe is rightfully theirs, and they are surrounding and systematically trying to squeeze these Christians out of that land now for 9 months. 9-month blockade, no food, no medicine, energy supplies have been cut off. And we're calling on our government and Christians who care about these things to push for a removal of that blockade and the delivering of aid to the Christians in need.
Yeah, so let's speak to that further. What needs to happen right now? What specifically are you calling on our federal government to do, and what can we do to help create some momentum, some movement here?
Well, one of the most important things that we're calling on is Christian leaders, and talking now about national leaders, about local leaders, pastors, people working in the secular sphere, to be talking to their elected officials about this situation and asking them to pressure the Biden administration to do something about it. The Biden administration has talked a good talk. They have not walked much of a walk. And what's really needed is President Biden and our State Department to call the dictator of Azerbaijan and tell him that enough is enough. And unfortunately, while the Democrats have been quite good on this issue, the Republicans have actually been missing in action for the most part. And Christian leaders largely because they don't know the issues, they haven't heard about the situation, have not been speaking out. And I think that's really the missing piece. Christian leaders need to speak out and demand our government to do something about it.
Yeah, you bring up a great point that so many people don't know about this situation. Why is it, do you think, Robert, that there has been so little media coverage about this? Is there is there something behind the scenes that the media does not want to cover something that involves Christians, or what is the reason? I mean, 120,000 people being starved to death is big news. Why is it not getting coverage?
There are a couple of things. One, you mentioned, there's some reluctance, describe it however you will, to cover persecuted Christians. I've seen this now in this work for years. Another part of it is the Azeri and Turkish lobby, which has bought off a lot of the media, some of the government. Part of it also is just the mood of America right now. We are not, as a people, Democrat or Republican, in much of a mood to do more abroad. There's a huge debate right now about Ukraine and whether we're doing the right thing there vis-a-vis Russia. And the idea that we should care about, do something about a small country that we haven't heard that much about strikes a lot of people as just a bit too much. Now, what they don't know, and this is maybe the most important point, is that the first, biggest, most successful international religious freedom effort that was ever done in the United States was led by Christians and was directed towards specifically Armenians. During that period of genocide, it was the American Christian community from top to bottom, every denomination, that rallied behind a couple of NGOs to provide aid. They raised the equivalent of $1 billion in today's money, helped 1 million refugees, saved 132,000 orphans whose parents had been killed in the genocide, and I've met the descendants of those people living today. We've done this before. We've forgotten about it. It's just a matter of remembering our connection with this ancient Christian community and remembering that we have the wherewithal to do something about it.
Robert Nicholson with the Philos Project, thank you so much for your work and for keeping us informed of what's going on there with the Armenian Christians. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch.
Thanks so much.
All right, friends, listen, we're going to call many of you, most of you are probably going to be in a church, a place of worship this weekend. This will be a great issue to make a matter of prayer for other believers around the world. All right, coming up, one of the co-founders of Moms for Liberty will join me about how they have been targeted by the Southern Poverty Law Center and what they're doing to push back. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jan Harper. If you're a pastor's wife, come be encouraged and renewed as you share your challenges and stresses unique to pastors and their wives.
The AFA Fishbowl Retreat 2023, September 26th through the 28th at the Riverbend Retreat Center in beautiful Glen Rose, Texas. Here's Exploring the Word's Bert Harper.
I've experienced Satan's attack on our marriage and on our family, and Jan and I worked through that with the grace of God, and we want to just love on those pastors and encourage them.
Bert and his wife Jan are hosting again this year with speakers Jeff and Debbie Shreve from Real Truth for Today.
Most of the time when we ask that question, why, God's response is, my child, just trust me.
Register at repairingthefoundations.net, repairingthefoundations.net, or call 662-844-5036, extension 297.
The AFA Pastors and Wives Fishbowl Retreat. We'd love to see you there.
While in the emergency room with my wife, as she was struggling with the COVID-19 virus herself, and I looked at her, I said, "Are you scared?" And she said, "A little bit, but I've been through worse."
The Certainty of Mankind's History with Uncertainty, an article by Peter Rosenberger.
And then, as her fever was approaching almost 103, she started singing "In Christ Alone." I placed my trust and found my glory in the power of the cross. And that's how she has anchored herself in the certainty of Christ through her huge medical journey that has included 80 surgeries, both of her legs amputated, 100 doctors have treated her, 12 hospitals, and now the COVID-19 virus. And so when we live with those kinds of uncertainties, anchoring ourselves in Christ alone, that's the only place we can run to where there is certainty.
To read this article and more, visit afa.net/The Stand.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Washington Watch. I'm Jody Heiss, your host, and an honor to have you on board with us on this Friday edition. All right, the 2023-24 school year has begun, as we all know, and right along with it, the radical agendas of the left continue to infiltrate our schools and challenge parental rights and a host of other things. And of course, the Family Research Council is on the front line of these and so many other issues, but we're fighting to empower parents and at the same time to protect our kids. But we need your help. And so I'm going to ask if you would take just a real quick moment and take our Protect Students survey and share your thoughts on how you believe the LGBT ideology is impacting our schools and impacting our children as well as parents and across the board. And we want to help policymakers as well as parents push back. We want to give some effective tools to do so. And so this survey is going to help us kind of fine tune that method. So to take the survey, just simply text the word survey to 67742. Survey, SURVEY, to 67742, or you can visit our website, frc.org/student survey. All right. After the COVID-19 pandemic prompted many schools to switch to remote learning and mandatory masking and all that sort of stuff, parents with children in public education were able to witness in person just how short-sighted and destructive those policies were and how they were hurting children. And out of that came movements like Moms for Liberty. They came about in 2021. And that organization, Moms for Liberty, has expanded to include hundreds of chapters across almost every state across the country. And that growth, quite frankly, has been upset by the morally bankrupt Southern Poverty Law Center, which targeted this group in its annual Year in Hate and Extremist report that came out this past June. Well, I think we all know that probably the most dangerous thing anyone can do is upset a mama bear or mess with a mama bear. And hopefully that's a lesson that the SPLC is about to learn. But joining me now to discuss this is Tiffany Justice. She's a former school board member and the co-founder of Moms for Liberty. Tiffany, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's our honor in every way. You know, I should note that the SPLC has had a long, shaky, we'll put it that way, relationship with the Family Research Council. We've been on their hate list along with a lot of other respected conservative groups for a long, long time. So you're in good company, but I know it's upsetting. We've all been through this. So I want to give you an opportunity to set the record straight. So let's begin with just your response to the claims that have been made by the SPLC in their report as it relates to Moms for Liberty.
It's just absurd. It was shocking to see the anti-government extremist designation put on us. I've shared, I called my daughter to let her know that it had been done because I wanted to make her aware of it. I know the Family Research Council has been, hurt by the designation in many ways and had, this incited someone to action in a way that was very scary. And so when I called her and told her, she looked it up online and she said, Mom, they put you next to the United Skinhead Nation. And so that's just the level of ridiculousness. The idea that Moms for Liberty is an anti-government extremist organization is ridiculous. As I said, we endorsed in over 500 school board races in 2022 and helped get 275 people elected to office. 76% of those people had never run for office before. And so it's a whole new group of people running and serving in elected office. And I can't think of anything really that America needs more than that right now. So it's upsetting, though. There is no doubt.
It is, and there's no doubt that this has an impact on Moms for Liberty. It has a negative impact, and I'm sure you've experienced that to some extent across the various chapters in the states where you're represented.
We have. I mean, there's no doubt any article that's written about us, the designation is mentioned normally in the first few paragraphs. That's intentional. The SPLC has done this in order to try to damage our organization, as they have done to many other organizations, and it's concerning. There is absolutely no doubt about it. It's also put a target on the back of every American mom and dad, and it's one more step, I think, to try to chill speech. You know, we saw the Biden administration working with the NSBA and the Department of Justice to weaponize the federal government, the premier law enforcement agency, the FBI, against parents, naming parents domestic terrorists for speaking out at school board meetings. I had the opportunity to testify in front of the Constitution and Limited Government Subcommittee because one of our moms was contacted by an FBI field office. These are things that Americans would never think would happen here in the United States.
Absolutely. All right, Tiffany, listen, we've only got about a minute, so real quickly, you're pushing back. Tell us what you're doing to push back against SPLC.
Well, we're pushing back by continuing to be joyful warriors around the country, continuing to look for good candidates to run for school boards, endorse those candidates. Our chapters are involved in their communities. They're unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. You go to momsforliberty.org and check us out. There's a big map there. You can click on the map to start a chapter, to find a chapter near you. You're correct. We have 300 chapters now in 47 states. We just added Idaho with over 130,000 members, and we're exploring legal action because we believe that the SPLC should be held accountable as an organization that is trying to hurt the American people.
Absolutely, but we will be keeping a pulse on it, Tiffany, and know that you've got friends here at FRC. Tiffany Justice, Moms for Liberty, thank you for joining us on Washington Watch.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, friends, coming up after the break, we'll be talking about the ongoing battle over parental rights in California. There's a lot to report on there, so stick around. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back right after the break.
Are you passionate about praying for our nation, advancing God-honoring policy, and standing for biblical truth? Are you troubled by what you see happening in our culture? If you are, we would like to invite you to join Family Research Council and FRC Action in Washington, D.C. for the 2023 Pray Vote Stand Summit. This event will feature prominent speakers, including former President Donald Trump, Dr. Ben Carson, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Senator Josh Hawley, swimmer Riley Gaines, and many more. Join us from September 15th through 17th for this national gathering of spiritually active, governance-engaged conservatives. Register today by texting PBS to 67742, or for more information, please visit us online at PrayVoteStand.org. Again, text PBS to 67742 or visit PrayVoteStand.org. We hope to see you there.
Washington Watch advances a culture where human life is valued and religious liberty thrives.
Hello, this is Tony Perkins, host of Washington Watch, right here on the American Family Radio Network, inviting you to join us each weekend for the weekend edition of Washington Watch for the latest from our nation's capital on what is happening as it pertains to faith, family, and freedom. You'll hear from policymakers, congressional leaders, and others each day, 4 p.m. Central Time. Be there.
Can we trust the Bible?
He says we saw this, and that sets the Bible apart from almost everything else in the ancient world and its religious pantheon of gods and goddesses.
The God Who Speaks, the important documentary from the American Family Association, is now available to watch for free on AFA's brand new streaming platform. Go to thegodwhospeaks.org to watch this award-winning film today. thegodwhospeaks.org.
Is there any hope? We answer it not just with yes, but with the gospel. Dr. Al Mohler from the American Family Studios documentary, The God Who Speaks.
And here the Christian message comes through the scripture, which is the gospel of Jesus Christ, which tells us that if left to our own devices and sin, there would have been no hope. But because while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, well, then there is absolute hope. And that's the gospel of Jesus Christ. Look at every other worldview. It's going to have to offer salvation by some other means.
If it's a political problem, then a political solution. If it's an economic problem, then an economic solution. Sociological, psychological, psychiatric, well, you can name the problem and it will imply the solution. But only the biblical worldview reveals to us the real problem and the only answer, which is Christ.
Visit thegodwhospeaks.org. FRC celebrating 40 years with Senator Ted Budd.
I just want to thank you for what you all do each and every day. You're digging deep on these issues. You really help articulate things that help us in the policy here and help us communicate to the folks back home that send us to Washington. So thanks for the fight that you're in, and we're in it with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Senator Ted Budd from North Carolina. We appreciate those kind words. And listen, friends, we're less than a week away from this year's Pray Vote Stand Summit in Washington, D.C. We would love to have you join us September 15th through 17th. And listen, we've been in this battle a long time, standing for faith, family, and freedom. And this is, of course, our 40th year anniversary. But now is the time for all of us to engage together. Our country, there's so much at stake. So we're going to be working together and talking, discussing how we can unite forces to have a huge impact. You can register right now or find out more information at prayvotestand.org, prayvotestand.org, and we encourage you to do so. All right, the battle over parental rights in California. That battle continues to rage. And yesterday, the Orange Unified School District became the latest school district in California to revise its notification policy in order to support the fundamental rights of parents so that they be informed of, so that they be involved in important aspects of their child's education. But that's an idea that the left finds destructive or discriminatory. They even refer to it as dangerous. Simply letting parents be informed and involved is dangerous, but it's really the complete opposite of those types of things. Here to talk with me further about this is a member of the Orange Unified School District's Board of Education, Madison Miner. Trustee Miner, welcome to Washington Watch. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, it's our privilege to have you. All right, let's first talk about the revised policy. Walk us through that.
So we had our first reading of this policy last month, and one of our trustees, Ms. Rumsey, had a couple of issues with the policy. She did not like that it was the teacher's responsibility, according to the former policy, to discuss with families and with parents if their child maybe had an action that they wanted to take with their gender dysmorphia. And so she wanted that to be the administrator's duty. And there was also the timeline. It was 3 days listed in our former policy, and she wanted it to be a little bit longer. We do have a lot of working parents in our school district, and so out of respect for those working parents, and also the fact that it's hard to schedule with parents sometimes, even when it comes to something important, when it comes to their child's education, we wanted to be respectful of that. So we extended the timeline to 5 days, giving the administrator 5 days to contact the families and have that discussion with them, and then we increased the my headphone dropped. Sorry, and then we increased we changed it from being the teacher that contacts the administrator, or that contacts the parents, to the administrator that contacts the families.
Well, I think it's important to know that the policy does have some exceptions. If a child's life is certainly in danger, that's one thing. But you would get the impression, an average person would, that the state of California thinks that parents in general are dangerous. They've made it sound as though there's an epidemic of parents out there who are just waiting on bated breath to harm their children. Why this attitude from the state of California?
I don't understand. I don't understand why there's been such a shift in parental rights being stripped away. I don't understand why our 14th Amendment is being kind of mocked and stepped on in California. But I'm so grateful that this policy passed, because it is our fundamental right as parents to be notified. I mean, it's a simple notification of change, right? It's not stopping that child from making that change. It's just asking the families to be involved, to come alongside their student and love them through this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think really a bigger concern ought to be that these schools really are teaching the children how to lie to their parents. I mean, that ought to be a big concern. And thank goodness for policy reversal and your courage to be a part of that. And look, there's no doubt there's a lot of great teachers out there. We all know that. A lot of great teachers, counselors, all this type of things who really care about students, but none of them care about these students and children like the parents do. They just simply can't. And so for you to stand in the gap for parents is huge. All right, you've had a lot of emails. Last question. No doubt you've had a lot of emails and communications over the last couple of weeks about this policy. And there was a public comment yesterday. From what you've heard, what points really stood out?
I listened to both sides. I listened for there were 122 speakers that spoke about our item 7A, which was our parent notification policy, and hearing both sides and hearing the for and against statements. I empathize with both sides. I just stand firmly, and I believe that this is an important issue, and making sure that these families are heard is so important. Making sure first and foremost that our children are protected, because according to statistics, it's 82% chance that a child that has some sort of a gender dysmorphia, where they're uncomfortable in their the gender that they were assigned at birth, that they have an 82% suicide